Piedra River Hot Springs. Hi, I'm Callie, this is Sam, and this is Chad, and today we're on a hike to the Piedra Hot Springs. So this is actually outside of Pagosa Springs, and we are going to hike about 3/4 of a mile in. We drove to this trailhead, the Sheep Creek Trailhead, trail number 599, and it's supposed to be a really cool natural hot springs that you can sit down in. There are campgrounds out here. This is just a cool little off the beaten path camping area in Pagosa, plus really cool hiking, family friendly because it's a short hike. It is moderately downhill on our way there, which means we will be coming back uphill. I hope you enjoy seeing this little hidden part of Pagosa Springs.
Piedra River Hot Springs is off of Highway 160 north on First Fork Road.
One thing to note as well is that when we parked, we did not have cell phone signal. So if that matters to anyone, you'll be prepared for that. Got the mud. So one thing I've also heard about these hot springs is that people can go in a more natural state, if you catch my drift. And I'm really hoping that's not the case today. I don't know about you guys, but sometimes when I'm in hot springs, it's just like a little too much in general when you're sitting in hot water, like kind of in close quarters with other people, and you're just looking at each other like, hi, I guess we're gonna have a conversation because here we are. So I'm hoping coming out to these hot springs, it is a little bit more, or actually a little less crowded. But you know, one other person in their birthday suit really changes the dynamic, even whether it's crowded or not. So we shall see, but surely not. We've been going to the hot springs fairly frequently, and we used to, when we first came to Pagosa, we would go just for fun because, you know, they're awesome. And then Sam broke his leg. He didn't need any physical therapy or anything like that, but his tendons just kind of stayed tight. And we started taking him to the hot springs so he could soak his leg. And I really do think it made a difference because he would just swim, and his mobility improved pretty significantly from that. And then Chad hurt his back, and we actually had a friend say, well, don't you go to the hot springs? And we were like, oh, maybe we should. So Chad's been soaking his back, and seems like it loosens it up. Maybe not, you know, forever, but at least for a little while. And so this is our swan song. School starts tomorrow. Even for homeschooling, it's bittersweet to come to the end of summer. But we do have some fun field trips planned. We were talking about going to Chimney Rock and Mesa Verde. So if you guys want to see videos of that, we could vlog our field trips and make a little travel vlog out of it and show it to you guys if you care to see. It looks like there's some grazing going on, so I really hope that when we get to the hot springs, there's not a whole herd of cows chilling. But hey, we appreciate the cattle. Never gonna complain about having beef. So normally on a little hike like this, we would have just brought water and maybe some snacks for the kids, but we had to think ahead, which is, you know, not my strong suit. Just kidding. And bring towels and bathing, you know, make sure we had bathing suits, change of clothes, the whole thing. And then I'm really hoping, because Chad's like, oh yeah, you just go stand behind a tree and change. And I was like, I don't know, these trees pretty skinny.
You saved it. There's your short.
Oh. So let's see. There's my badge of honor there. Look, somebody slid here too. I'm not the only one. Hopefully it wasn't Sam. This Piedra campground area is really cool. There's developed campsites with fire pits, and the road is smooth and easy to access. I mean, it's just your typical dirt road. There's potholes here and there, but I think most vehicles could access it. And even, you know, today, as you can see, it's muddy. The roads aren't muddy or washed out or anything. Here's a nice reinforced part of the trail. So we just came down this little switchbacky area that was only challenging because it's a little slick today, but they've reinforced this part. Ooh, look at these monster spruce trees. So one thing we learned this past year is that fir needles are flat and spruce needles are round. If you're ever looking to identify what type of tree you're looking at, and then pine trees have, you know, the big monster needles that are easy to identify. And pro tip, if it's a warm day or you come across a ponderosa tree in the sun, smell its bark. First look for ants. Learned that myself the hard way. And smell the bark, and it smells like the most wonderful, luxurious vanilla you've ever smelled. And so the bigger the tree, the hotter the day, the more intense the sun, the more fragrant the tree will be. And it is such a reward. And everyone will look at you and be like, why are you're communing a little too intently with nature, but it's worth it. And sometimes you'll catch the fragrance on the breeze if you're hiking on a hot day. And you're like, oh, what is that? Oh yeah, the ponderosa. Hey boys. Hi Sam.
We just climbed this for fun, and I also stepped in cow poop.
You stepped in cow poop?
Yes.
Oh no. Well, that's okay. We're going to the river. We could probably rinse your shoe off. A puddle. I'm glad you noticed it. I'm also really glad you're wearing a yellow hat because you kind of blended right on into those green leaves. Ooh. This is steep. There are river otters here that you can spot along with, you know, deer and all the greatest hits. So it would be very cool to see a river otter. Whoa, this is a monster tree that fell down. I wonder how long it's been down for. This poor guy has no bark. He was skinned alive, yeah. Oh, it is slicker than snot with my muddy shoes.
I told you.
Oh! Let's go. Let's go find the hot springs. But here's the pools that people have built. I appreciate so much the people who come before who, you know, make these and improve them every time. How fun. Oh, you can smell the sulfur. I was curious if these were mineral hot springs or not. So we've discovered, it's really interesting, the water will be cold-ish, and when you sit on the sand, it warms you up because it's like bubbling up. Not really bubbling up isn't like the right word, but like as you dig down in the sand, it warms you up. It's so cool. I mean, and it's hot, like the water is lukewarm, like, you know, you've been in the bath for half an hour kind of a vibe. But when you sit down and you dig into the sand, it warms your body. It's wild. And if you dig down, like with your hands, it'll burn your fingers or it'll burn your toes, or your butt if you're sitting on it. It's so cool. It's fascinating.
Something comfortable
Here's Silas. It's starting to rain on us, and I'm worried about my camera because the one thing it says is it's waterproof, but do not take in hot springs. And so here I am. But it's really interesting because I was kind of disappointed. Like, there's parts that are like really hot, and then there's cooler parts. And I was like, oh, I don't want to sit in a cool spot. But then once you sit down, and you're like, oh, very neat. So we sat through a nice little rain shower, and as we were sitting here, we noticed there are fossils in the rocks. So right here, little fossils, and then we have another rock. over here with a fossil. Very cool fossil. Look at that. Let me know if you know what kind of fossil that is. Here's a little snail. Little swirly snail. So we've had a lot of fun here. It's like so fascinating because when you like first step in, you're like, oh, these aren't very hot. But then when you sit down and you feel the geothermal, I don't know, water coming up, it is so warm to the point you'll have to move because it gets too hot. So it's very different from the regular hot springs. By regular hot springs, I mean like if you go to the hippie dip where it's piped in, the water's piped in and it's filling a pool. This is natural. Like this is actually natural aside from where people are damming it up. And so you're actually feeling the geothermal water or heat come up from down below. I will say though, this murky little pond is hot. It's hot when you step in and it is toasty warm. So that's why we have our little tunnel going through there and it's warming our pool up quite a bit. So you can see hopefully the bubbles bubbling up. See that? There he goes. Whoa, that is a huge tree.
We discovered so many tracks that weren't there whenever we had initially come down. When we got to the parking lot, we found out that a cowboy and a cowgirl had driven 40 head of cattle up this trail in the rain. It really made us appreciate all of the hard work that they did, that they were out there on a weekend while we were relaxing in the hot springs, driving those cattle for us so we could have delicious beef. And it really accentuates that this is a land of many uses. So not only is it for recreation and enjoying nature, but it also puts food on the table. And that is probably the most important use of all.
So we've made it up the final slog, and I think it was harder because of the mud, but it really wasn't horrible at all. I think if you're in, decent shape and you stop, most people could probably do this and enjoy it. It's definitely worth it to get down there. Well, I hope you enjoyed checking out the Piedra River All Natural Hot Springs. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Bye.